Welcome back to the Abundant Harvest Homestead. I'm Papa Pepper. I thank you for joining us once again. If you end up liking anything in this video, please give it a like, and if you don't, just give it a dislike. But all of that helps with your comments. If you guys got a specific question you'd like us to potentially address in an upcoming video, I'll tuck that out. Or maybe, you know, something like that. Let us know, and we could potentially do so, but just leave a comment below for us, and we'll try to do that. So there are some types of people, some of them are the type of people who are constantly instigating situations, and they kind of reap what they sow. They're out there looking for a fight, they're trying to mess with people, and eventually people go off on them. Then there's also people who it just seems like no matter what's happening, boom, they're just getting hit with it. I don't consider myself to be either of those types of people, yet I wound up in a situation today where there was a good number, 5 or 6 guys, all like white-haired guys, started coming at me, shouting at the same time. Now, I'm not even used, like I used to sometimes open up at a Burger King, you know, as an employee, and there'd be good piles of old men, retired men, get together, meet for coffee, stuff like that. Probably kind of like the elders of the city used to do in the city gate back in biblical times or something. But I haven't really ran into a group of them like that in a while. And especially to have that many kind of coming at me at once. There's definitely things I could have done to escalate the situation. I chose to de-escalate. But while I work on this issue I'm working with, this stuff here at home, I'll be telling you guys a story, so bear with me. It was very interesting. I think there's a lesson to learn. I've de-escalated a lot of stuff in my time. I used to have a buddy. He was really good at instigating stuff, and it's one of the ways he enjoyed himself. Some things didn't happen as severely as they could have because of people like me stepping in and de-escalating situations. But from stuff of like walking up to somebody, a stranger at a bar, and slapping them across the face, to one time in New Orleans, he actually was thrown down a flight of stairs while he was sitting in a wheelchair by a guy, a vet. And, you know, I didn't de-escalate that. You know, I don't know that I could have. I just saw the aftermath type stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting world out there. Sometimes things can get very volatile very quickly. And if you keep your head to you, and you know how to kind of especially address a crowd. Now, I was the one with the pitchfork this time. That was good, okay? They didn't have pitchforks and torches coming at me. But if you can address a crowd, kind of take control of a situation, and quickly, pretty much transmit information in a receivable manner, that's going to go so far these days, because a lot of people are very reactionary, they're very emotional, and these guys, boy, their emotions quickly came up to a level just because of one simple thing I did, to the point that all of a sudden they're all coming at me yelling. And thankfully I was able to de-escalate it. I'm gonna get a bit of this unloaded and then I'll be back. Think you want to climb up here and fill a bucket for me, boy? I'll move this out of the way. I will let you take that empty bucket there and fill her up. You good?
I just got hurt.
Hop up here, Boogity. Hop up on top. Kind of lay it on the side. And just try to fill it in like that without knocking any off. Because this is precious stuff for us. And others. So out of the past 4 days, this is the first day that I actually have opportunity to work on my homestead. I started off Friday and I was hitting it hard. I woke up, I took a whole pile of stones I gathered from the woods, threw them on here, pulled them up here to my garden, took these big stones. It was quite a workout. I came in It was early in the morning, but I was drenched in sweat. My muscles were kind of burning. Oh, and I got my trailer ready. I was gonna run into town to get a load of compost. This compost here is incredible stuff. There's a place we take our recycling, and we're able to sometimes get free wood mulch or free compost. The wood mulch is more common than the compost, but the compost is also available, from what I've seen, on a yearly basis, at least for a window of time. And when it does, everyone just kind of rushes in, right? So that's what I was gonna do on Friday. And my goal on Friday is, see, from like noon to 3 right now, they will load you up. They'll get a skid steer and just scoop and dump, scoop and dump, scoop and dump. Well, on Friday, I was trying to run there early enough that I could just show up ahead of time, load it up, and then get back to my homestead and get it unloaded, you know, before people who are waiting to be loaded are even loaded, because I would load it myself. That's what the pitchfork is for. I got a call from a friend in need all day Friday, pretty much from then on. It was helping others in need. There was also another situation yesterday where had another family we knew who was in serious need. They were in need. So me and Pinky Pepper took care of things on Friday. Me and Red Pepper took care of things yesterday. And then we were like 2 hours away from home by a gar hole, so we were able to catch our first gar on a pole. I don't know which side this thing pops up on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we were able to catch our first gar on some fishing poles, and we're actually gonna have those for dinner tonight. I'm excited about that. That's my favorite fish. And you might be wondering, well, hold on, you said this is the first day in 4 days. You only mentioned Friday and Sunday. Yes, we take Saturdays off as a day of rest. Was convinced of that some years ago, and we love it. It has really been good for us. So there's that old principle from the 10 Commandments even, you know, work 6 days, rest on the Sabbath. We've been doing that for a while now. I actually do have a separate channel that is just Bible stuff, just spirituality, that type of thing. I'm planning on maybe even going into a whole series about just the day of rest. If you guys would be interested in that, let me know in the comments below. I'll have that other channel appear wherever it does. I'll have to remember, this is right, this is left. I'll have to use that to figure out when I'm editing, so then I only point the right direction in the future, if that's the one. But yeah, and I'll have that channel. You guys can subscribe ahead of time, check out some of the stuff we've already put out. And I don't just, you know, cram the Bible down people's throat ever. That's a distortion of reality. But on this channel, our entire life and what you see us doing is based upon what is revealed in Scripture and His lordship over our life and us living our life for Him. So if you do appreciate us, know that that's the foundation. And if the foundation be removed, what can the righteous do? Anyway, so yes, helping families on Friday. Had my trailer ready to go. I was gonna take off, switched. Had to go help some people. Took a day of rest. Then had to go help some other people. Now, Monday morning, I wake up, I make a phone call, because I knew there was stuff there on Friday. I didn't know if it would last Friday, Saturday, you know, be there Monday still. And they said, yes, we have some, but people are lining up to get the compost. And I'm like, okay, I know exactly what they're doing. They're parking there now an hour ahead of time or more, and they're waiting for somebody to come load them at noon. So, okay, I'm pretty sure if I take off now, I can make it there ahead of time. Everything will be good. I'll be able to get all my chore stuff done. I got free pallets. I got some other stuff. I got animal feed. Ran and picked up a whole bunch of that today. As I show up, I'm not sure how many were there when I pulled in, but it was 8 or 9. 9 were there when I left. There's a long line of vehicles, okay? And somehow it's just all a bunch of older gentlemen, okay? Gray hair, silver hair, white hair. And this is, you know, not uncommon. It's Monday. It's the middle of the day. It's before noon on a Monday. Not a lot of people have a lifestyle where they're just going to be able to go hang out for an hour waiting to get some compost later, okay? Getting loaded from noon to 3 during a weekday, that's difficult. But retired people, right, they have a little bit more free time. I thought about retiring a couple years ago. I'm working on a couple things. And I love the amount of free time I do have, trust me. And this is why I was able to roll up there. So they got this long line of people. Here's a load of mulch, right? I drive past all these trucks and I back up right next to the pile of the mulch in front of them all. And they just start coming. Hey, you can't do that. What are you doing? This and that. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, guys, hold on a second. I said, you guys are here to get some of this compost when they start loading at noon, correct? And they said, yeah. And I go, I'm here 15 minutes ahead of time to load my own, and I will be gone before they even come out. I said, if you look at the size of this mountain, if you look at how many of you guys there are, everyone's gonna get some. I'm not gonna hinder any of you, but I'm a busy man. I have things to do. I can't hang out here at the end of the line waiting for somebody else to do the work for me. I would rather do the work myself, okay? I don't blame an old guy, okay? An older gentleman, elderly people, from not wanting to sit there in the hot sun and shovel up a complete load of compost. I get that. I don't blame them. But however, I'm 40. I'm pretty fit. I'm capable. I can do things. So I am not gonna sit there for even 15 minutes a lot of times. If I can be loaded by the time they would start, sometimes I make that decision when nobody's there, just to get the wood mulch, which is not quite as precious of a commodity as this. I'll tell you what, the price is right anyway to get a free load of compost. Even if I've got to do the work myself, that's fine. That helps my cardio, gets my heart beating, works my muscles a bit, helps me. I want to get in better shape. So doing a little bit more effort and labor myself, there's nothing wrong with that. But I said, look guys, I'm not here for what you're here for. You guys are here for a service I'm not interested in. I'm trying to do something myself and move on my way before you guys even get started. And they were still kind of squinting at me. Know what I'm saying? But they held their peace. They settled down at that point. They went back to standing in their little circles. I mean, you know, you're a bunch of guys sitting around for an hour or however long they'd been there. So a couple of them get out of a couple cars or leaning on other people's cars or standing around a little circle outside the trucks, you know, whatever. It's okay. One guy did come up and talk to me for a while, and that was good. That was cool. We had some good conversation. I had kayaks on top of the truck here, and even when I was getting ready to leave, monster truck, you know, my 8-year-old, he goes, Dad, you want to take the kayaks off first? And I said, son, I don't have time for that. Cool thing was, when I finished, I still had at least 3 minutes to spare, and I even told the guys, I'm like, look, if they pull out here first and tell me to get out of the way so they can load, I'm gone. I've got no issue with that. But there's plenty enough space in this whole thing for us all to be able to do what we're trying to do. And it kind of relates back to our last video too. I was driving out to the gar hole that I heard about. I say to myself and to the camera, my buddy continued to his destination. He sent me down this dirt road. I know what I'm looking for, and I'm glad this is out here in the middle of nowhere. I'm hoping for kind of some alone time down at this property, down at this access to the water, rather than a whole bunch of people. It just makes life easier when you're trying to do things like catch fish. So we'll see what's going on. Because if there's not a lot of people there and we got the whole place to ourselves, that gives us a lot of freedom. I don't have to worry about potentially snagging somebody with a hook, somebody scaring away our fish, other things. When I showed up, a lot of people were there. Now guess what? We were still able to do what we wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice one. Shoot.
That's my first one ever on. Now that's my first one ever on a fishing pole. Mama's gonna be happy I'm bringing home dinner. Oh, baby. Oh. Okay, nice and easy. Okay, nice and easy. Oh yeah, I see it. I see it. I see it. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Get it up here. Get it up here. Oh, it snapped the line. It snapped the line, but we got it. Yeah. Yeah, we each caught a nice fish, a nice gar, the species we were looking for, our first ever. While we're doing that, I mean, people are cliff jumping right next to us. and there's no issue. They're landing in the water right next to us. We're fishing from right by where they're jumping. It all worked out. Sometimes there's enough room for everybody. For everybody. It's interesting too. I remember some years ago people were talking about the world being overpopulated. I get that there's a lot of people who are strictly consumers and they don't produce anything themselves. To me, to walk from my house to my garden and pick a pepper from a seed that I saved and then walk back into my house, you cut out the sticker on the thing, you cut out the packaging, the shrink wrap around it. You know, sometimes you'll get the 3 little ones on a little styrofoam tray. It takes a lot more for a person like that to drive to town, or if they live in town, just drive to the store, buy the pepper. They had to earn the money. The pepper had to be shipped there. There was all sorts of potential chemicals that had to be created in the midst of the whole thing to even grow the pepper. All that packaging, the people at the store, the lights being on, all that stuff. Yeah, to me, to walk over to my garden and pick a pepper leaves a much smaller footprint, okay? Carbon footprint. I'm not trying to be green. I'm just saying it's a life that makes sense to me. But I understand that if a lot of people are going to be consumers, sure. Resources, just like this resource, you know, are going to be things that people are concerned about, like those men were this morning. But some years ago, I heard that, you know, if you took the population of the world and you actually shoved that entire population of the world into the state of Texas, and I did some calculations a while after hearing it just to check the validity of it, that it would be as densely populated as Paris, France. In fact, if my property right now was as densely populated as Paris, France is right now, there would be like 683 people living on our property. Okay, we used to have an acre per person. Then we had a little bit more people show up in our family. But still, compared to what we lived back in Wisconsin on our little quarter acre, you know, we have a greater stewardship here. But that does allow us an opportunity, and you know, even if people choose to live in Paris, France, and the entire world could live in Texas with the same population density, there's enough for all of us. There was at the Gar Hole yesterday, enough room for cliff jumpers, swimmers, fishers, all that. There was enough of this morning. All those guys got exactly what they wanted out of it. They got a big free load of this stuff, where they didn't have to work for it all other than driving there. They roll up, skid steer comes out, dumps it in, and they're on their way. You know, sometimes 3, 4, 5 more scoops depending on how big of a trailer they have or how big of a truck bed. I took about 10 minutes out of my time. Remember, I showed about 15 minutes early, left with 3 minutes to spare. The negotiations, the de-escalation of the situation, that took me a minute. But I was able to do so politely. I was able to do so respectfully. And, you know, I could have been like, yeah, whatever, guys, you know, and just went about my business and ruffled everyone's feathers and turned all these guys who were about to get, you know, escalated, about to get agitated, and just really took them like, you know, a can of soda and just shook that thing up and then opened it and let them all just, you know, spaz out for a minute. Some people do that. It's less common actually as you head into more mature people who were raised some generations ago versus people who are coming up behind me. They seem to be more reactionary, more emotional, more crazy about stuff like that. So at least I was dealing with a good target audience too, considering these were all probably elderly straight white males as people classify them. But it worked out well. I think that both with the story from yesterday, and if you haven't seen that video, feel free to check it out. You know, it was a good time. But the moral of that lesson I didn't bring out in that video. I thought it, I realized it, and now I can, you know, tie it into this one. That a lot of times there's enough to go around. We just have to get people to realize that and understand that. And if we lived more that way, and here's the thing too, right? My time is limited. I'm already taking 1 day off a week where I'm not working. I'm not progressing on my homestead on that day, and I'm not earning an income for my family on that day. I could potentially be much farther down the road if I wouldn't take those 52 Saturdays a year out of the pool of potential work to be done, okay? But there's some reasons that I do. And I have faith that I'm making the right decision in all of that. But even with giving up Friday, when I was heading to get this, Did I still get this? Yeah. And actually, my goal was maybe one more load. They've still got some there now. I could go back tomorrow and shovel load myself, probably, based on what they had. Not gonna do that. I've got what I need for the year. I'm happy with what's arrived on our property. Again, the price is right. I've got plenty of other stuff to do than run compost loads right now. But with giving up even that Friday, and then the Sunday, and the day of rest, I still got what I needed. There was still enough to go around to get us where we wanted to go. And hopefully it's some good food for thought for you guys. So this little man here and I have our work cut out for us, don't we?
Yeah.
We got a lot of unloading to do, don't we?
Yeah.
And what do you think? You want to go try to catch gar someday yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, he comes out and has a lot of fun down at the lake and swimming. Boy, hey, come here. Tell him what you were doing the other day. We took a trip recently down to the lake, and what were we in? Some kayaks, right?
Yeah.
And what did you do when we found a tree in the middle of the lake?
I jumped off into some deep water.
So it's flooded out down by the lake right now. I think it's 29 feet high. So there's trees that were, broken off. They're just sticking out just a couple feet now. Pull up next to one. He climbs out, made sure his life jacket real nice and tight and secure, and me and the 3 of your sisters were there. And he climbs on top of this broken tree, and he climbs to the top of it, a couple feet above the water, and just jumps in. How many times did you do that?
2 times?
Yeah, a couple times. He had a lot of fun, didn't he?
Yeah.
So you want to tell him thank you for watching and all that?
Thank you for watching. Bugger out.